frontier is defined as uncharted territory by land or ocean. Those who chart that territory tell a story. The past illustrates the blueprint for the present, how things are and how they've evolved. From land to water, we are challenged to border that new frontier, a frontier the outdoorsman knows like no other. Author Gary Lewis works his way along that edge of where discoveries, failures, and achievements have written the story of the sportsman.
Yes! Yes!
From state to state, continent to continent, the stories told create the foundation of the present, and they lay the framework for the future. Through the muzzle fire and on the stone are stories from the edge.
Water is the most important thing as far as Indians are concerned, because that's life.
The past is written, the present is here, and this is Frontier Unlimited. Born to a saddle in the Old South, on a plantation hunt for bobwhite, and a glimpse of the past from the back of a walking horse.
People don't hunt like they used to. Used to, people hunted at night, they hunted fox, they hunted cats, coons, and everything else. Back in the early days, the country was full of sharecroppers. And they farmed, they didn't farm clean, they left plenty of cover. They had chickens and stuff at home, and they go out and shoot the possums and coons to eat them. And the fox come up to catch the chicken, they killed them. The hawks came in to catch the chickens, they'd shoot them. Wasn't as much chemical back then. It was pretty much a manual labor to farm. You used the hoe and the shovel and whatever you had to do instead of chemicals. But they always had pea patches and stuff around the house, and it was plenty of feed for the food.
No one answered our knock. Brian Smith turned the knob and we stepped into the quiet living room. Quiet voices drifted from the kitchen. And smells, fried quail, beans, cabbage, and pecan pie.
Bless the meal before us, bless our hunt tomorrow. Amen.
For dinner tonight we had quail, crowd of peas, cornbread, cabbage, pecan pie. I think that's it.
It just wasn't my day!
Bessie sat on a stool in front of the kitchen sink, and Georgia Ann leaned against the counter shredding walnuts for cookies. Way back on Lewis's mama's side, they were from the South too, by way of Nolichucky and Memphis, thence to Kansas. Now here he was with Wighart Vandergripe, a professional hunter from the other South, South Africa.
I was born in the house my mother died in Hatchachubby. We didn't have deer then. About the only thing we had was possums, coons, squirrels, stuff like that, but no deer, no turkey.
Brian Smith.
Brian Smith, how you do, sir?
All right, how you doing?
The whole country burned off in the springtime. If you can do one thing for wildlife, that's what they always say is burn off.
We had driven out of Birmingham 3 hours before and found our way onto a narrow back road to a town called Hatchachubby, where Don and Maybelle Dixon run Dixieland Plantation. I was born for this, Smith said, and shoved the L.C. Smith double gun into the scabbard and turned the plantation horse in a circle. In the morning, Lewis and crew didn't spend a lot of time getting to know Dixon or the horse handler, Dan Nelson. Instead, they patted their horses' necks, promised they'd treat them right, tightened stirrups, and swung into the saddle.
Shall I go?
The dog is on point.
Like one shooter down, one shooter
You
down.
got it.
In front of me.
Okay.
You got plenty of time to shoot them now.
Yeah,
So when they say, you don't have to boom.
sure.
They rode into the pine trees. Ahead of them, Bob, a 9-year-old English pointer, quivered with excitement. As he cut back and forth, Lewis watched the horses.
Right there.
And that's a Tennessee red.
Oh, okay.
They done got together now.
Yeah, good.
That's an ugly bird to me. Bobwhite's a pretty bird.
Tennessee red. And there were some bobwhite in that group, and then this. I was expecting him to fly like a Hungarian partridge, and as soon as I reconciled that it wasn't going to do that, then I decided I better go to work. Shoot one. Probably could have got two if I'd shot a little quicker.
Don't never tie your reins together.
Okay.
On a hill planted to knee-high cover, allowed to grow wild, Bob's body language changed. His tail flagged, his muscles tensed and turned tighter circles. Cat-like to stand, one front leg on the ground.
We've got Bob on point here, so now Brian and Jim are gonna walk up alongside Dawn. We got the wind in our face, about 5 miles an hour.
She got that one. Is there another one there?
Born to a saddle in the Old South, on a plantation hunt for Bob White and a glimpse of the past from the back of a walking horse.
Hey, this is a bobwhite quail. It's the classical bird of the southern plantation. Shot with a L.C. Smith side-by-side shotgun made in 1922. The L.C. Smith is the only side-lock shotgun ever produced by a U.S. manufacturer.
They love acorn. They eat pottage peas. They eat weed seed. Eat insects. Grass. About anything they can get, but most wild animals, deer, turkey, and everything, they prefer acorn over everything.
Bob's just gone on point here. We're gonna walk in. We've got this little strip of cover here, and there's got to be birds here. About 5 mile an hour wind. Just perfect conditions. Here we go.
Lewis and crew would be on horseback until Bob or the other dogs caught a scent.
When you walk away from the horses and the other guys, you just remember, okay, I'm not shooting behind me. They're right there. I've got the sun marked. I'm not going to shoot into the sun either. So I've really got a window about like this. And these birds, the first two, they were in my window. Oh, there.
Wighart shooting the shotgun, the guy you want backing you up.
Chances are the bird's going to hook to the right and I'll give Wighart the downwind side, this side. Right there, right there. And it didn't go to the downwind side, it went to the upwind side. Thank you.
Dixon would dismount, and that was the signal. He didn't turn and wait. He expected Lewis and crew to be there alongside, 2 steps ahead on either side, close, but not too close, to the dog.
Oh yeah, not good. Just got us a bobwhite quail down over there behind that pine tree.
That's a hen there.
Yeah, I was gonna show Bygart because
Yeah,
I showed him up
Yeah, that's the hen there.
so he know what the hen looks
Yeah.
like. The male has a much whiter head. The cock's got the white head. See, the hen is brown where the white is.
Back in the early days, quail didn't have that much competition. Since the deer and turkey eat a lot of the same feed that the quail do. And now we got hogs coming in because they will run everything. Everything out there is against the quail. It's hard for them to survive.
There we go. There we go, right there. That happened fast. The birds were all around us. It's just amazing how tight they hold. We could go walking right past those things in our haste. It just makes so much more sense to just go slow.
I only feel them in the back. If they're wide apart, like this one can be a hen. If they're close, those bones close to each other, it's a male.
Ready? Thank you.
When a quail hatches, that chick comes out of that moisture in that egg, and it's going to draw the fire ants to it. And the fire ants will come to that, and they will eat the chick. A wild turkey will eat a chick.
We had driven out of Birmingham 3 hours before and found our way onto a narrow back road.
I think that's a double there, Bryce. I needed some help that time. I didn't need any help on that last one.
All the studies they've done on the quail, snakes eat quail eggs, it's coon, owls, and it's just a lot of predators there that give the quail a hard time.
Don, let's take a look at that bird. What do we got? Oh yeah.
Tennessee red.
Got another Tennessee red.
That's a nice covey right there.
Yeah. Got him.
Back.
I've got two this time.
Yeah, good.
I got one.
Come on.
See, I think you got a triple.
Okay. Can be.
Because I know I only got one. Shoot.
Right there.
Oh, come on now.
Another Tennessee red, scratcher of the dirt, eater of the seeds, and a tough little bird.
This is a female.
What you're feeling is that there's bones that are wide enough apart where they can lay an egg.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the males is much closer to each other.
I think maybe you got a triple.
It looks like that.
Several years ago, they brought coyotes in to run. These fox hunters did. They just multiplied, and they're real plentiful now.
That was freaking awesome. That was a nice little coyote. As the sun was kind of in my eyes, so the first shot, couldn't really see the bird. The bird came down this lane out of the sun, and I was able to get a longer shot on it. Hit about 45 yards right down that way.
We had driven out of Birmingham 3 hours before and found our way onto a narrow back road to a town called Hatchachubby, where Don and Maybelle Dixon run Dixieland Plantation.
Trust your heart and trust your dog. She wasn't supposed to miss that bird, but she's still on it though. Oh yeah, she went and grabbed for it and she missed it, but she's got it now. What a good little dog. What a good little dog.
Come here. Unlucky bird.
Yeah. Well, you can have bad luck.
It was hard through the trees. Yeah, it's just trying to pick them through the trees there.
I reckon he's closer.
Hey. Annie. Oh, yeah. Here.
Beautiful.
This was a little bit lighter.
Ah, good.
A lot of people would have left that bird.
Oh yeah.
I don't like to do that.
No, I saw it.
Well, that's about as good an outcome as we could hope for.
Come on, guys.
Lewis shot the Weatherby like he was born to it, taking 5 quail, 4 reds, a bobwhite in the first 5 shots.
Annie, come here. Oh. Oh, come here.
Oh. Get him. Well, that was a pretty solid cutting.
Each time the dog pointed and held tight, Dixon would dismount, and that was the signal. He didn't turn and wait. He expected Lewis and crew to be there alongside, 2 steps ahead on either side, close, but not too close, to the dog. This was the land of the Creek Indians, and then Frenchmen who left France because they weren't welcome there anymore. It was the land where the Cherokees walked away from in tears. It was the land we were born to. Our daddies, their daddies before them.
That's
can't believe they sit so tight. Unbelievable. Yeah,
that poached
and that
smell.
one, we went over
Yeah.
it. Yes, it was in the open, it's like an
Yeah.
open patch in the middle of it.
It's funny how every dog handler has a different language for communicating with his dog. And it's never quite the same. We read all these books and we watch the videos, but everybody kind of develops their own little language, a way of communicating with their dogs. It's really fun.
A day in the saddle gives time to think. Lewis wondered what brought him across the continent. It wasn't a ride, a strawberry roan named Bert, to sit in a saddle, to walk up on a pointing dog named Bob or Della or Annie. He didn't come for a simple joy of the swing and the shoot of blurs of red and white in these tall, skinny pine trees. Lewis wanted to hear the wind, smell the horses' sweat, and feel leather creaking beneath him.